Boys and NBs, welcome back to the Berlin LEC studio for game number 2, where Fnatic take to the stage after gaining and then throwing that first match in dramatic fashion. I'm Quickshot, joined by Dagda and Caedrel once more. Fnatic, after losing head side selection, they elected to stay on the blue side, and I think I found the words to explain why I didn't like game 1's draft. I don't like seeing Fnatic without engage tools. I think when they don't have engage tools, especially engage tools that can really work well in the early game, I just don't feel like I've seen enough from this team to have faith.
Yeah, I kind of heard as well that their one engage tool ended up running us in the first 3 minutes of the game. But I definitely think coming into this, I want to see an adjustment coming through. I want to see them try and prioritize a bit of a stronger bot lane so they can actually set themselves up. And as you say, just find ways to actually try and play out the early game in a stronger manner.
And Berlin, I know there are a lot of Fnatic fans here, so I'll make it simple for you. If Fnatic fall behind at 14 minutes, you're pretty much effed. They've only won one game when they've fallen behind at 14. So we need to keep track of that, and if it'll be different this time around. In game 1, they banned Kai'Sa, Xayah, and Renekton on blue side. I wonder if that'll change.
Yeah, I really think they need to try to look into a Maokai first pick. I think the first step of plan A, I think the Fnatic could go for is same bans, just change first pick. The only thing I wonder is if they just drop the Renekton ban and go for Maokai, let Ebby have a fine champion like the Renekton, and then just try to suppress that with Oscar. Like, drop a Maokai ban here. No, they haven't. They've gone for Rel, so I think they are going to look for Maokai first pick.
Yeah, I think you have to at this stage. Like, the Maokai is just so incredibly good. And the fact as well that you're able to play with Vetheo now, bringing out the Yone as well. But Heretics are actually going to be the one that ban away, yeah. So they're going, yeah, we're not going to get our hands on this twice.
They're going to go. So. Oh, they first picked the Jayce anyway. I thought Tristana would come out, because now I think Heretics could look for a Tristana 1-2 here. And Renekton's up as well. Renekton, Sejuani, Tristana, triple topside like that would be a Heretics bread and butter, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that'll leave you with an incredibly strong topside when you can play easily for Rift Herald as well. And you can leave Flakked alone. Like, this has kind of been the style where you see them play a hell of a lot over the course of the split. I mean, we've seen them be a little bit more proactive, but if they can just play strong topside, they're happy out.
They went for Ahri instead. Now, I actually did look at the stats. Vetheo lost both his games on Tristana. He hasn't won. He was both games against BDS. Maybe after that series, they said, maybe we'll drop the Tristana for now. And the Ahri worked fantastically against BDS second time around and against Koi. So I think VTO's best 3 champs are Kai'Sa, LeBlanc, and Ahri. And he's gone for one of them. He's got one of those top 3 champions that he favors. And I think the beauty of this draft here is they can counterpick on 3 with something like the Trundle if they want.
And that's what I'm curious to see what Jankos does want to take. Because whenever I see an Ahri, I'm like, okay, we can set up for a really strong mid jungle that we can try and play through. Maybe we see Jankos try and go for something that's a little bit more of a damage dealer or a carry oriented pick. But I think when you've got this kind of style, like, it's easy to just set up for, hey, we're going to go strong topside and make sure we're all good.
Poppy picked up smart into the Renekton and Ahri. Just a question of whether that's going top or jungle. We'll see in just a second as to what Razork wants to pick up. I think Viego can work here. The Ivern is up as well, if that's something that Jankos wants to play. And the Sejuani is as well. So he has a plethora of options to even be able to drop. But they're actually going to go for the Aphelios. And when we talked about this a little bit in game 1, where we wanted them to pick up their AD carry in the 1-2-3 so they didn't fall short on the 4-5. Aphelios was open on the 4-5 last game anyway, but they went for the Zeri. But this is one of Noah's best champions.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It kind of feels like, well, Aphelios is starting to be pushed out of the meta just because he can't keep up with a lot of those bot lane champions. So again, we're kind of seeing that Fnatic may not be up to scratch when it comes to just being able to play a lot of the meta on that bottom half of the map. We got Zeri twice now from Noah and the Aphelios as well. So if this is a read from Heretics, they can look to keep abusing it.
I mean, for Noah, 6 times he's played this Aphelios this summer. He has won 5 of those games. All-time career-wise, it's his most played at 36 with a 67% win ratio. We've seen the mechanical prowess he has on the champion. I would like to see what Trymbi will pilot next to him in that bottom lane. Did not seem to have the impact they would have hoped on that Alistair into Rel. We were ideating what Jankos could have been running in that jungle. It will be the Trundle locked in and not the Sejuani, which is one of the options available.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they end up just going back towards something like the Sejuani here for Razork and just go, right, what the game plan is try and play around the 3 guys on top side who can all proc the Sejuani stun, just create a massive beefy front line for this Aphelios, and then let Trymbi play something like Emilio or even something like a Janna as well, because a lot of what you're looking at on Heretics is very short range. We want to jump in on top of you, and something like a Janna could actually work out really well for disengage.
I'm also looking at this Poppy, because I feel like if it's Poppy top, what AP jungle can Razork play that's not Sejuani or Gragas that's now banned? You're looking at things like Lilia, I know his Echo is good, and then vice versa. If you put it jungle, what top laner can Oscar play?
I'd love Kennen.
Yeah, Kennen is something I'm thinking of, but he hasn't played it, I believe, this split. I was thinking of Ornn as well as another option, but up against Trundle, that kind of sucks, I'll be honest. So yeah, I think Fnatic might have a small issue with picking a top jungle here. I'm curious to see what direction they go in. Another easy way out could be Jayce top, Poppy jungle, and then pick a mid laner, right? But I don't think they want to play Jayce top.
I mean, Oscarinin has played a number of Jayce top games himself, comfortable on the pick. What I really love though, Caedrel, as you were talking about that Amelia being a potential option, Heretics see that as an opportunity themselves. They ban it in second phase along with Gragas, and Fnatic got one more ban after that Varus before we turn back to Heretics.
I'd love to see Nautilus ban here. I think when you set up for Heretics, you want to try and go for some sort of like range support here for Trymbi, but we're not going to get it. I think you've set up now for Mersa to go for the Nautilus and actually have great engage on you.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be a cannon game. Yeah, this is the tricky one. I feel like they should pick AD here, Heretics, and last pick support, but it looks like they want Rakan. The only worry I have there is if they play Aphelios Nautilus into the Rakan. But then again, Trundle's on the enemy team, so I don't think Heretics care too much about them having counter pick support and having a beefier front line. So the denial pick comes through, makes a lot of sense, but they're picking Rakan into Poppy is my only concern. So we'll see how that plays out regardless. Now, the top lane situation, the jungle situation, where is the Poppy going? I think both Razork and Oscar are very comfortable picking it up. It's just a case of what AP they can pull out. Could be an Ivern. That's a decent amount.
This will be the first Ivern that we get out of Fnatic, though. They even banned it in a bunch of their last series on blue side because they didn't look like they're comfortable. But I think the Ivern would work out perfectly. The fact you get to add that magic damage through the bushes onto both the Aphelios and the Jayce is going to help out drastically.
Is Trymbi Soraka a pick here? Is that something you think of when you think of like
I think Janna.
Trundle? Yeah, Janna as well. Or Braum into Rakan. It's a bit of a tough one. I guess they have a few things to proc the damage, and they have Renekton Trundle, which is two beefy front lines that'll run straight into you. There's no real going out when they're going in, so that could be a direction for Fnatic, and then it's just up to Flakked what he wants the last pick. The Nautilus makes a lot of sense into Rakan, just will struggle against the Trundle. Now, what AD carry do you think he's going to go for?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. I think, especially against the Nautilus, you're kind of in a bit of trouble here. Like, yeah, actually, I think Sivir's probably your best bet because you don't want to go for the Varus this time around. There's a ton of CC that can come your direction. So going for something like the Sivir is probably your best bet. A ton of speed up for the rest of your squad as well, which could be good, but it looks like they're worried about going that short range and may swap back over to Jinx, but I think Sivir's best here.
Yeah, Sivir makes a lot of sense. I was going to go for the Jinx, doesn't have enough peel, but the Sivir has enough self-peel, I think, to live against the Nautilus ult with that shield. Fnatic running back to Jayce, they've got the Nautilus, they've got a lot of, a decent amount of poke through mid, but they've got no on Aphelios, which I think is something you can always kind of rely on with Fnatic despite the nerfs, but Heretics come very mid-game heavy. You've got the Sivir as their late-game insurance.
The only problem that I see for Fnatic, though, is kind of similar to the last one, which is you're kind of reliant on Trymbi to be your main engage tool again. You don't have a lot of kind of setups, so you're trying to see, hey, look, maybe we can try and find some kite back with Oscarinin and buy space for the Aphelios and the Jayce, but when it actually comes to starting fights yourself, I mean, Ahri's going to dash away, Sivir's got the spell shield, you don't really want to engage on Renekton or the Trundle, so I think you're kind of in a similar boat here as Fnatic.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Fnatic's early game. Where do you want to see the pressure levied? You and I have seen them struggle early game, time and time again. It's been a huge talking point. We mentioned it only one time when they fall behind at 14 and they've been able to bounce back. So I want to see Fnatic improving that, be more proactive, be more engaged in the early game.
Yeah, I think a huge amount of it has to come around this bot side, like just trying to see if you can prevent Sivir from consistently shoving in, because she'll go for the static shiv rush, plus she just shoves waves like there's no tomorrow. So try and dissuade that, allow the Aphelios to scale, and then hope that you're able to command space when it comes to the river, so Jayce can get some damage down, you've got opportunities to kite back, and Aphelios can't get caught out.
If you're watching from home, the tension here in the Berlin studio is palpable. I hope you can feel it through the camera. A lot of Fnatic fans hoping they bounce back, even up this series, and push Heretics to Game 3. Let's find out what happens as we load up to Summoner's Rift. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, everybody else, to Summoner's Rift. Immediately, Team Heretics are grouped up here, defending any sort of vision invade. A little bit of poke comes out there from Ivern, fully spotting them out. Thumbs up, spread across, and of course with the numbers advantage, Heretics in the top lane, it does look like Trymbi and Noah feel comfortable to step forward. Did Trymbi flash over the wall? He's sitting on that Hex Flash already. I didn't quite see his movement, so I can only assume so.
I didn't see it either, so not entirely sure, but
Trymbi flashed out of base, I think. He was running through the lane, and then he flashed by accident at his tier 3 tower in the first 5 to 10 seconds of the game.
Now, I don't think that's the end of the world,
and
the Hex Flash, but...
Yeah, Noah was spam pinging his flash, so I guess they're joking around a bit. He also emoted Trymbi, so they're probably having some laughs about the fact that Trymbi flashed level 1. I mean, the worst part is Heretics will know that he flashed level 1 because he has Hex Flash, so they'll know that bot is punishable. Just a mistake.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Observers, huge kudos for that one. Pulling that up really, really quickly. I'm going to be a little bit unfair and read a touch into that. After you see those Aster plays earlier and you see that flash, maybe some nerves, maybe some shaky hands. I obviously cannot validate that, but it feels that way from Trymbi on the side of Fnatic. Now, we need to see what it does in this lane. Again, with the Hex Flash and Nautilus, you still have a lot of tools available.
Jankos just pinged Nautilus Hex Flash as well, 1 minute 50 into the game. So they've realized that the Nautilus has no flash. Does that change Jankos' pathing is the question. Does
I hope it does.
Get punished.
Caedrel, I'm going to take a moment to be a bit selfish. During Ready Check, I had a big speech about Jankos. Do you know he's played against Fnatic 107 times before game 1 is 108. This is now 109. The stats don't include that first game, but 47 wins to 59 all time. On teams not named G2, Jankos has had a more difficult time taking down Fnatic. And on G2, 5-2, and he'll be looking to eliminate Fnatic from obviously the summer playoffs this weekend, as well as eliminating them from season finals. The reason I say all that is Jankos being the one that's picked up, noticed Trymbi's lack of flash, and he's got a wave that's pushing directly into him.
Yeah, and it's nuts when you think of like Jankos, how many games he's played, and then you look at like Oscarinin, first time in playoffs, Noah, his first time in LEC playoffs. Like, the fact that you got one of the oldest players in the LEC going up against two of the newest, it's absolutely insane. And we'll have to see now if maybe the new blood can overtake the old, or whether Heretics can keep the streak alive.
If you add up all of Fnatic players' total games in the LEC, there are only 100 or so more games than Jankos alone. Right, let that sink in for a second. And I think maybe that is something that will play into Team Heretics' benefit when you do get to those crazy situations where Team Heretics throw a team fight in the middle lane, the gigantic lead, only to find an opportunity to punish Fnatic. For now, though, all three of Team Heretics lanes are pushing into Fnatic, and Razork may be able to have the first move here, stepping towards Mersa and Flakked.
And Noah should be really close to his purple gun there as well, so he can look to try and snipe down for a root. Spotted out though, I believe, or pings are coming down from Heretics in that general area. So Jankos finishes up that crab, and Razork does the same thing. That ward must have spotted him out, so both junglers on opposite sides of the map. Humanoid possibility for a dive here.
He's very low.
Jankos has a lot of damage with the PTA.
Ooh, stepping forward, flash available. Shock blast comes out, 100 HP, flash chop, and honestly, that was just too easy.
Yeah, press the attack does so much damage in these early levels, plus the double points into the chomp are going to make that a bit of a difficult time for Humanoid.
Dagda. The First Blood King strikes again as Jankos secures it for Team Heretics. I got the biggest eye roll from Caedrel and Dagda.
In a world where Barbie and Oppenheimer are taking over, you went Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, that's just such a weird one to go.
If looks could kill, I wouldn't be able to shoutcast the rest of the series, but nevertheless, they get the flash out of their middle lane at the cost of Jankos's. And now Razork and Noah and Trymbi looking for an engage. Mersa is in trouble. Will be able to dash away. Here comes Vetheo to boot. The flamethrower burning Mersa down. Below 30 HP. Trymbi gets killed. Team Heretics secure a second. Secure a third. And it is a gigantic advantage before 5 minutes.
Trymbi's flash came up and immediately burnt it and died again. And now Vetheo.
Oh, the root caller all the way forward. Vetheo is able to escape. 100 HP. Still has the flash. Over deception by some time. While that was going on, Abby was applying pressure in the top lane. Shock blast! Not gonna find its mark. And this first pick, Jayce yet for Humanoid, hasn't yet found the advantage.
They're gonna try and redive maybe. The Ivern's hovering. Could look to land a Q over the wall here, could Razork, but it looks like he's just gonna back away. Jankos ready to respond. What is happening to Fnatic in these early games?
I mean, the fact that Vetheo managed to escape there, had the level 6 as well to walk away, but I mean, Trymbi trying to go in and get vision, has the backup, so they try to turn on to Mersa, but doesn't actually have his flash up to try and disengage this, especially with Vetheo having control over mid. He just gets to roam down, Flakked had cleared out bot wave, so now you just end up in this position where you burnt everything as Fnatic, and Heretics have fresh recruits on the way.
Yeah, looking for maybe a ward there is Trymbi, and Mersa, unfortunately for Fnatic, manages to escape. Jankos is on his Gromp, fresh out of base, second respawn. He's happy to fight around the 4 minute mark. Vetheo has mid push, and Flakked just kind of wanders over. Abby pops the ult onto Oscar. See where the poppy ult goes. It's just going to knock him up, so no pushback available. Pillar will get his flash, perhaps. Can they follow up? No, they can't.
We're going to need to get that. Want to rinse and repeat. Ebby, the only member of Team Heretics minorly behind the rest of Fnatic. That's because he hasn't been able to kill a member of Fnatic yet.
Yeah, it does mean, though, that Oscarinin now no flash for something like a Rift Herald Flight if they want to. Humanoid, I don't know if he's running the Cosmic Insight, but chances are his also won't be up. So it means that now you've got both laners. Actually, it is. So you will have Humanoid's backup and available as he gets to that Rift Herald, but when you look towards the rest of it, it's a bit of a disaster.
Gage dead. No, we've still got Flash and Cleanse. Boomerang Blade is out. Spirit Rush forward, below 200 hit points. Looking for the charm. We'll go right between the two members of Fnatic. So on that roam, after pushing the middle lane out, Vetheo unable to find the kill. We will be able to at least force Nova away from that wave.
He's going to give Humanoid a free reset there, so that stings a little bit, but their bot lane is quite chunked now, is Fnatic, so Heretics can capitalize on that, take advantage of it, and try to keep him under tower. Dragon's still up, Jankos taking his base. Third respawn of camps coming through on the bot side of the map for him. Most notably the Grump, but I think an early Dragon start would be great for Heretics. He managed to get the first one last game, and he starts stacking those up with these pushing lanes.
And I want to see what Razork is going to do, find his way back into this matchup. For his team has been one of the primary players in controlling the early game, generating the lead, and then finding the wins. Has in the past had a positive, K+A. Has in the past had a positive GT. This time, however, is being kind of run around the map by Jankos, who secures another kill. 2-0-2, 100% kill participation, and is currently putting Team Heretics in a fantastic position. Level 6 for Flakked is on the hunt. Those boomerangs, they be bladed, and it's Mersa that secures the kill with that ignite, and Razork, I don't think, can do enough to really turn this one around.
The tree is here, but this time it's the bird that's ousting it from where it needs to be, and Heretics now control over bot side, control over the top side, control in jungle, and I mean, Razork, when we looked at him against their win against SK, he was playing off of knowing Trymbi bot side, invading in onto the enemy jungle, and myself and Caedrel were talking backstage saying, look, well, personally, I would have loved to see this again, like, try and get into Jankos' face, hit what has been the crutch of Heretics, which has been Jankos kind of propping them up, but we haven't got to see it at all, and Jankos has taken over.
I think the reality is Jankos is just outperforming this series, and Trymbi is just really struggling. I feel like that's another 2v2 kill, second game in a row, where Heretics just capitalizing on bot. Granted, this time around they were already behind, but not really able to find any link up of jungle AD support. The only time they did was when they died on the bot side river. And yeah, not looking great for Fnatic right now.
And for this, it'd be heartbreaking to see Fnatic drop out like this. Again, if you lose, you are out here as either squad. So for Fnatic, when it's been such a good performance for them to turn it around and get to the position that they're in, to now flounder at this stage is heartbreaking.
Yeah, Heretics just keep leveling up, don't they? Their draft so far in game 1 was strong in fights. Vetheo has been star of the show, whereas Jankos has been carrying through the early game. Ebby's now really pulling his weight in his top side. As I walked backstage after game 1, Peter Dunn was giving a big pep talk to Ebby about lane resets, how to manage his lane, how to manage his waves a little bit better. And he's been drilling that into him all year long, so you can see the improvements coming through.
His most comfortable champion on the Ahri. 4 games played, 4 wins in the course of summer. His team right now with a 3,000-ish gold lead, but important to note, no Dragon secured yet. The Rift Herald's available as well. And it will actually be Fnatic that start this one off, taking advantage of the lane setup. Jankos trying to work there on that Rift Herald. Dragon down to 3,000, but I think there's an ensuing fight. Level 5 here for Mersa, but Mersa's the one that gets caught by that dredge line. He will fly himself over the wall. Dragon now swapped. Jankos steps into the pit. Daisy has been smited down. 4 members of Fnatic available, no teleports for the top laners, and it's Team Heretics that are respecting the team fight, and they're starting to back away. Humanoid flashes forward, but there's no target to bring the hammer down onto.
Yeah, he tries to land it on the flash. Ebby's getting a bit greedy here for plate. Needs to be careful up against Oscar, who's slowly chunking him down, looking to proxy the next wave, but Mersa was level 5, Trymbi was level 6, they had a disadvantage on support, and Jankos had to use the smite on the Daisy, so he didn't have it up for the Dragon. They decide to disengage. Herald base is coming in, I think, here for Heretics. They're going to rush up towards his top side, probably.
But that's the weird call, actually, is Ebby might have found Razork here, but Heretics had the Rift Herald. They'd already had the position where they took the Scuttle Crab. You had the Trundle in the area to start taking it, and Fnatic were trying to trade the Dragon, but Heretics put off Rift Herald and were like, we can take the fight, we're stronger, but Fnatic with positional advantage take the fight to them.
First now, Ebby being a little bit punished. He's minorly ahead on CS. He's secured himself 2 plates, all right? Divine Sunder has already been picked up by Jankos because of the 2 kills and the 2 assists. And the teleport from Vetheo, the charm, the knocker, the orb of deception. The Humanoid's able to escape with his life for now, but that may concede the Rift Herald, which is theoretical gold for Heretics.
And that's the big win there. Even though they don't get the kills, they get Humanoid back into base. Has TP if he wants to try and come in. So Heretics do need to try and rush this down. You can already see the TP from Humanoid into the top lane.
All right, moving his way forward. Oscarinin has got that Keeper's Verdict. Daisy stepping into the river. Emmy finds himself a yordle to the face. He's held in place. The Dominus buys a few seconds, but it won't be enough as Jankos secures the Herald. Now they're trying to find the kills. Mersa with the great knockup, followed up by the charm from Vetheo. Humanoid is slowly being burned down the backside, but Daisy buys so much time. I think that was a double knockup, allowing him to at least get one back. Vetheo remains relatively untouched. Oscar's trying to get the damage out, but it's an Ivern and a Poppy. It takes so much time. That Butler doesn't have the damage, but the root caller will just about. Mersa's buying time. Oscar's being burnt down. He's not taken out yet. There's just not enough damage, and no matter how tasty the Daisy is, they can't find the kills. If there's one more thing different, here comes Abby. Ruthless Predator, one slice, the second dice, and his team Heretics stamping authority on this game.
Mersa played that fight so well, and he's been stepping up massively for Heretics over the course of this playoffs and groups. The fact he managed to pick up the Rift Tower off the back of that as well is such a massive win for Heretics.
Mercy and be damned for Mersa, 1-0-4. And man, Ivern and Poppy trying to run down Ahri just could not find the damage.
Initial engagement from Fnatic was good. Look for the Renekton full-man stack, but what does that open up for? It opens up for the Ahri Rakan. Let's watch Mersa here. He just got so much CC out. E with the R, walks onto Oscar, knocks up Humanoid. Vetheo easily follows through, lands the charm. And from that point onwards, I feel like the damage comes through, that Vetheo can get resets here and there. Jankos just about lives, but gets taken out. Then it turns into this 2v2 scenario, where Vetheo is just trying to get out. He's just trying to survive, trying to trade onto Oscar. The only real form of defense here is offense, so they're trying to push the Poppy back because the gap close with the Ivern Qs is too much. No mana on Oscar. Mersa, just a little bit enough mana left to knock him up and force him back with the flash. Vetheo just lives. Daisy
so close.
The shield as well from Mersa may have been what kept Vetheo alive in that play. Ebby respawns, TP's in, and Razork, you've been caught in the Croc's mouth.
I mean, the dessert's tasty there for Team Heretics. 8 kills to 2, nearly 4,000 gold up. Herald was dropped during the course of that replay. We saw it going in the middle lane. And look at the total gold. All 4 carries for Fnatic ahead of their respective members, and Mersa ahead of Trymbi, as you expect. So literally all in the red here for Fnatic. And as I mentioned before this game to the Fnatic faithful here in Berlin and watching at home, when this squad falls behind, they've only won 1 game at a deficit of 14. Let's not forget what happened in game 1, because Team Heretics kind of created an opportunity that could have bitten them in the ass. And I think that's what Fnatic will be looking for. Let's not, again, discount. They do have the Jayce, they do have the Aphelios, so there are options, but it is so hard from this position.
They need to find a way to claw it back. I think the Aphelios is a decent amount of scaling if they can get 2 items on Noah, but let's not forget, going down match point against Heretics. It's not the position Fnatic want to be in, let alone to get into season finals, but obviously they won't be able to make worlds with players like Humanoid and Trymbi. But it's the Jankos Flakked bromance that's standing tall in the Worlds attendees next to Ebby that really want to go back to that tournament.
Hey, listen, they won Duo Q earlier today. I tried to curse them with the monologue. Caster curses are not real. Jankos is doing very well. 4-1-2. So around 80% kill participation, and we're 25 seconds from the next dragon. So if you look at the minimap, Kraken Slayer and BFSO picked up there for Flakked. He's making his way back to the bottom lane. Teleport is not available for either top laner. It looks to me like Team Heretics are trying to at least push this wave out a little. Only shallow vision in that bottom quadrant. And it was Fnatic that picked up that first dragon, so Soul Point will be a little bit slower there. Yeah. See a little setup.
Moving in now with Daisy, just trying to force Heretics back and get control over this river. That'll allow Humanoid to get this poke down.
Edge line, managing to connect. Death charge, the Moonlight Vigil! And just as we are closing the coffin on Fnatic, they find themselves kills. Humanoid, where's the Shock Blast? Holding on to it for now. This will be Dragon number 2. This is actually huge for a potential late game comeback.
Clawing their way back slowly now they are. That's a nice kill onto Vetheo. It's a shame they didn't get Mersa as well. Nice engage there from Trymbi. Good ultimate from Noah to get the damage down. Dragon, like I said there, Trevor, going to be picked up. What's the soul? If it's Hextech for Fnatic, that would be ideal. If it's a Cloud, that's really going to suck with Jayce and Ivern and such. It's going to be, let's see off the end there. It looks like it's
Hextech.
Hextech, perfect. That's really good for Fnatic when you're playing Jayce.
Psychic?
Yeah, no, I think Jayce and Hextech soul, that combination hand in hand is just absolute. It's way too oppressive to play against, really, especially when you're playing champions like Ahri.
And I think for me, the fact that they've got Jayce first pick 2 games in a row, I do want to see Humanoid find these Shock Blasts have a large impact. You need to get value from those picks. But kudos to Trymbi. Tough opening of 2 games, but he finds a key target.
Yeah, managing to. Yeah, managing to just curve that one in and around Jankos to get onto
just
Vetheo.
Nautilus things.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it is Mersa.
Just Nautilus
Turn
things.
this one around.
TPing as well. Double TP behind.
Gonna find the damage. 1, 2 teleports after the second dragon. Mersa cannot fly away for his life. But here comes Jankos. Here comes Vetheo. Epi's gonna be a little late. The charm will prevent any of those shot clots for now. And the mid tower is the focus. That should just about fall. Tower secured. 2 teleports spent, but they find another couple kills.
See if they can transition it into anything. 40 seconds on the Herald spawn. They're all on this top side, but they're probably going to have to push in mid and take a base suit. Humanoid's pushing in bot, but if they want to fight the Herald...
Oh, turning their
to join.
attention. That's pinned against the wall. Oscarinin finds Jankos. Scuttlecrab will be secured. They don't find the kill, but they are clawing their way back. That gold difference now down to 2,000.
Humanoid staying bot. Let's see what he does here. If he recalls, they probably want to fight Herald, but if he stays, I think they just want to take this bot tier 1 and might have to give it up. Ebi has the TP advantage, and Noah is yet to reset. So I think tempo for Fnatic is a bit of a struggle despite winning that fight. But neutral might go over to Heretics, which they can then use for either side. Trying to deny the cannon there, Humanoid on the tower death.
And the thing is for Humanoid as well, like, yes, getting that bot lane tower down is nice, but if you try to overextend on this bot side, the opportunities for Jankos and Vetheo to come down are going to be a bit painful. Vetheo, though, is having a bit of pain himself in this top side as
Still
Trymbi
got the
moving up.
flash, still got the Spirit Rush, Dagda. Oscar buying some time as he knew that Trymbi was coming. Orbit Deception does a lot. And with the Pillar of Ice, he's forced to flash over. If you look at the minimap, Mersa and Flakked are nearby. They wanted to come for the second Rift Herald. Another time that I think Team Heretics' objective control, barring a couple dragons, feels a little bit stronger. Managed to get into position, managing to use those Rift Heralds relatively well. And again, potential gold unlocked here.
Yeah, the game 1 and game 2 objective control has been a bit stronger than Fnatic, but Fnatic props them. They've got the first 2 dragons this time around, which is huge for them. This Herald, we'll see how they use it. I feel like top tier 1 is an easy pickup for Vetheo if he wants to walk up and has Mersa covering him. So they won't use it for the tier 1. He's actually kind of scared. As his team moves away, he is going to walk up. Oscar's coming out of base. So it's a trade of towers in the long run of the play. Around 2 minutes of play there. They get the Herald though. First time in trouble.
Don't know where's the damage. Trymbi and Razork for now. Fine time for Noah. But a squishy bird is much easier to kill. And you can feel it, gents. Every time Fnatic are stepping forward, this crowd gets louder. This crowd is definitely hoping for Fnatic to push their way back into the game. And Trymbi's finding picks. He's finding opportunities. It's 2 minutes to the next dragon. Look, they're setting up the vision. I mean, Dagda, they're looking for dragon number 3 in this game.
Yeah, I think they should be able to at least get decent vision control down on this bot side. You can even see Ebi had to completely back off of that bottom side just in case Fnatic decide to make their way down there. But at the moment, like, the fact they don't get the kill, Mersa would have gone for the reset. It's just given an opportunity for Fnatic to buy a little bit of time for vision, but they still need to try and deny Heretics entrance into River before they come through. But looks like with the push on bots, they should be okay here.
Look, Humanoid flash timer. Heretics have it to a T probably, so Jankos wants to force onto Humanoid with his flash deficit, but Fnatic are reading the play.
The Revice comes out. The Frost Charm. They've layered the CC beautifully for now. Vetheo is burned down significantly. Dragon is up in a minute, and Fnatic, they're not going to contest just yet.
They read the play. They knew the Humanoid flash timer would be punished, but they didn't arrive in time. Maybe Humanoid should have stepped back a little bit while he waited for his team to collapse onto this bot side because they had the read perfectly. Just arrived too late. Nice punish there from Heretics.
Now, teleport is available for both Humanoid and Vetheo for this next dragon fight. Humanoid will be up in 15 seconds. You can see Vetheo starting to back away. We also caught a quick glimpse there of Oscar and Ebi trading in the top lane, both of whom also have their TP.
The problem though for Fnatic is that you still have this Rift Herald in Heretics' back pocket. If they put that mid, they can actually force a large push down the mid lane, and Fnatic will have to maneuver to deal with that. So by default, Heretics should be able to fall back, set down vision control as they leave, and move over towards this dragon. Fnatic, a little bit late coming out of these resets though, although kind of similar with Flakked, means that maybe Noah can push out these waves enough that they can't really threaten us as the dragon spawns, but it should be totally fine here for Heretics.
And I mean, if you look at the itemization, right, 2 items completed for pretty much everyone at Team Heretics. So even though their team is only 2,500 gold ahead, their effective combat gold, as you're seeing on the screen, is nearly 4,000 gold, right? It's only 2 items apiece for respective Oscarinin and Humanoid, and a supportive tools there too. So for now, Team Heretics will not only have the gold lead, they also have the damage advantage, and I think it's going to be very tough for Fnatic.
Jankos bought the Anathemas and put it onto Humanoid, so I think him blocking the Shock Blast shouldn't be too much of an issue for Heretics if he wants to stand in front of Flakked to walk in. So these Shock Blasts might be pushed onto Jankos, but they're not going to do any damage. The Anathemas is already stacking up and ticking. He's got the red buff too. Trundle passive, if he's in range of those creeps, will heal him up. It's just a case of can they break this setup from Fnatic that they're going to try and hold with their lives. The Herald's going to push out bots slowly. We'll see if Fnatic want to deal with that or if they're going to get forced upon.
but that's why I'm surprised to see the Rift Herald bot. I thought they'd use a mid threatening tier 2, even an inhibitor for this dragon, and really put the hurt onto Fnatic, but Heretics slowly but surely now have to move in.
I think it's not too bad. It's just slowly pushing through bolted, isn't it? It's going to land onto the tower. When's the engage going to come through? Spell shield is used. Mersa's off to the side. They know Mersa's there, so they don't want to walk up. Oscar's W is going to be so important here. The tower falls. Heretics trying to finish this. Vetheo is now off to the side. It's swap places.
Verdict gets rid of Jankos inside the pit. Fnatic brute force their way onto dragon number 3. They need to spike this one down. Vetheo buys time. The dragon's still not secured. Envy goes over the wall. Finally, Fnatic do it. They find them 1, 2, 3 kills, and they're not done yet. Fnatic absolutely running away with the fight.
That's gonna be Baron. Oscar had the team fight of the series so far. What an individual performance. He steps back, stops Mersa's engage, flashes onto Vetheo and kills him, and then manages to get Flakked as well. He just single-handedly won that fight for Fnatic.
Now that's going to be the Baron for Fnatic as well. Amazing stuff coming through.
Absolute loss for words. Oscarinin on the poppy, hiding inside the Brushmaker. I mean, literally no information for Fnatic and for Team Heretics. They didn't see it coming.
Oscar, honestly, honor Oscar after that fight. Player of the game for winning that fight for them. Because not only is it given the Baron, but they're on Hextech Soul Point now. So as long as they keep control with this Nash and they push Heretics back, they can control the bot side river. So I just want to highlight Oscar here for a second because he's just standing in the bush. The knockback onto Jankos, first of all, fantastic for the secure of the actual objective first place. Now they start to walk up. He knows Mersa's around. What he's going to do here is he's going to go towards the dragon. As the engage comes onto the right side, he realizes he needs to peel the Rakan knock-up, then go onto Vetheo and stun him. Get the damage onto him, get the kill, then flash after Flakked and kill him too. So I feel like the positioning there was perfect.
Yeah, really, really well played from the top laner of Fnatic. And one of the newer members that is slowly but surely stepping up over the course of this year and over this split. Fantastic to see him now taking control for Fnatic. And I mean, we talked about Fnatic not being so hot when they don't have control of the early game. Well, they've massively taken that back now.
I think they are definitely giving me the middle finger after I made such a big deal about them falling behind early.
Yeah.
This would be the second time this summer they've bounced back from a gold deficit. They do still need to close out. It's 1,000 gold up, but it feels like momentum's heavily in their favor.
The big thing about that fight is Noah has kept his summoners and so has Humanoids. So not only is he prevented the engage, but he's kept their sums. Trymbi's going to burn his flash there on mid-wave, maybe walking up a bit too much. These sides need to push for Fnatic. Last time they got a Baron in game 1, they lost the game within the first minute, so they need to be careful. Don't step up on that mid-wave. That's the second time Trymbi's done that.
The thing that I do like is both Oscarinin and Humanoid have their teleports available, and yes, obviously Trymbi getting caught and potentially punished, but you can see where their heads are at. Fnatic trying to now arrest control of the game. They're in gold lead for the first time, and as you mentioned, it's 3 minutes away from that Hextech Soul. Teleports available for both mid-lane, solo laners for Team Heretics, and they now need to find a way to execute this team fight. And I think, unlike game 1, the sort of front-to-back, how the 5v5s play out, I really like how Fnatic can use their comp. It's a bit simpler, a bit easier to understand and follow as well.
Ivern Jayce is really easy, right? You just stay on one lane as 4, you walk up, Poppy has the TP, and he can juggle top and mid waves. Put brushes down and poke is the idea.
It's also just how often we've seen like Nautilus in the bush, just hiding there and just lands a hook that ends up getting a big pick. And you're going to see them try and do it here as well. You just got to sit in this bush, see what you can try and land here, and see if Heretics can actually try and defend this. At the moment they're doing well, but more members are picking up.
Yeah, the Sivir wave clear helps. What Fnatic will do here and what they should do is just stay around for a little while this Baron's up, push Heretics back in siege, but they will need to take a base before Dragon spawns, because they'll obviously need to refresh these walls and get some more control walls in this bot side river. So the siege begins. Can they get this bot tier 2? That would be ideal for Fnatic. Daze is going to die by the looks of it. Shock blasts are landing, but the wave's a little bit too far away, and Oscar's juggling these other 2 lanes the best he can.
I mean, Oscar's pushing that top lane. Ebby's moved his way towards middle. No real teleport opportunities behind the members of Fnatic. You're pushing into Sivir. It's so hard. And then combo that, of course, with Vetheo's Orb of Deception. Obviously a bit tougher against the Baron and Powered Minions, but the Observers are doing a great job of highlighting the difficulties that Team Heretics are working with when the vision is denied and the members of Fnatic are inside the bushes.
Last Baron wave they have to force, but Trymbi's dead.
I mean, so much damage in reply. Noah's Moonlight Vigil unable to find one back, and Trymbi steps just a little too far forward. Orb goes out, Charm connects onto Humanoid, but there's not enough follow-up. Oscar completes the TP, so did Ebby. Kill secured, the tower still stands, which I think is crucial.
That's the thing, Baron buff is gone now, so with Dragon in a minute's time, that's going to be our next big port of call. Heretics defend successfully, and now they'll have to see if they can actually try and step up and do anything at this Dragon. Oscarinin was huge in the last fight. It feels like Razork and Co should be able to reset and try and get control, but we're just going to spot it here. Trymbi doesn't land the hook, and then as he starts to step up here, the pillar behind them just causes so many issues.
Yeah, he gets charmed up too. Trymbi again, just a little bit too far forwards. Granted, it's really hard to play Nautilus into Sivir Trundle and then 2 mobility champions in the Ahri and Rakan, but again, needs to play a little bit less so far forward. He's playing so extremely up in these mid waves and on these sieges. He needs to be careful. 20 seconds on the Hextech Soul. Fnatic gonna group mid. Oscar needs to join them. Base coming out from Humanoid. I wonder if he has Cyrildas in base so he can TP on that mid tier too. Looks like the recall's coming in. The purchase is coming through and the TP's there. So here comes the fight.
Video's very separated though. This is why Fnatic starting to step forward. See what they can do!
That's the engage! Oscar throws down the Keeper's Verdict. Flakked is able to flash away to keep himself alive. A slice of dice, Dominus keeps the Croc on his feet. But here comes Daisy and the rest of Fnatic. That forces Evie to go golden. There's no Flakked available for a few more seconds, and Humanoid takes down the top laner for Heretics. Dredge line from Trymbi. Trymbi giveth and Trymbi taketh, but here comes Noah. Man, the Gale falls forward, comboed with the flash, backed up by Fnatic, and that is what we love to see from Fnatic's bot laner.
Fnatic managed to get the fight they needed. They spotted Video on the wave on the bottom side, and immediately they jump onto Flakked. Fnatic are showing that they're still alive and kicking.
We've got a series going now. It looks so Heretics' favorite, even in this early game here. But Oscar, again, he just flashes onto Flakked and basically pushes him out the fights single-handedly. You know, he realizes if I chunk out this Sivir who's being greedy towards mid, then I can force Flakked out. So what happens here is he does damage, Flakked flashes and heals. Now it's a 5v4. They go onto Ebby, they force him back. Flakked struggles to rejoin. He has to run around the blue pit. Vetheo tries to collapse. And then Ebby's kind of stuck on top of 5 members. Granted, the stopwatch buys enough time so he can get a lot of healing and damage out, but the redemption comes through. Oscar gets the stun. And then here comes the chase onto Flakked with no flash. It's Oscar's engage on the Poppy, and it's Noah's slam dunk on the Aphelios that's carrying them through these fights.
Yeah, there's just nothing that Heretics can do, and again, they're trying to take these fights, but they don't really have control. As you say, the greedy pathing from Sivir, not going outside of the river to get into position, and they get punished. Fnatic once more now, starting to siege, starting to set up.
Hextech Soul on the Jayce. This is going to be a nightmare for Heretics to hold against.
Look at the shock blast already. I want to see if we can find the squishier targets. Obviously trying to look at the best one to focus down. And look, I'm going to remind everybody during the course of draft, we saw that Aphelios locked in relatively early on. We've discussed the bot lane from game number 1. But you know what you're going to get from Noah's Aphelios. He is one of the best looking front foot Gale Force players that we have in the league. And it was that Gale Force play that set it up again. Bottom tower, secured. Dredge line will find Jankos, Keeper's Verdict. At least sends Jankos away for now. Baron's down to 2,000, being focused up by Razork, secured by Fnatic. Epi's GA is popped and he's caught between 5 members of Fnatic. And just to stay alive thanks to the Quadrinker, but it's simply not enough. Now 4 members remaining. It's a Baron, empowered minions. You have to feel Fnatic are going to look to open up the base.
Noah still has the blue gun. 3 items strong with the Hextech Soul, level 16. See if he can get that damage down if Heretics overstack. Baron buffer, like I said, 2 minutes 30 seconds now. The siege begins. Top wave looks good. Fnatic gonna go for the 4-1 again.
Heretics separated again though. Video was off pushing, had to TP into that fight after he'd gone for the reset. So a little bit of a mistiming there as Heretics not quite able to do what they wanted to. Now Fnatic starting to push in towards this top side. What can Fnatic achieve here? Looks like they should be able to keep pushing in.
They can indeed. That's their 4th tower of the game, evening up against Team Heretics. Just before we saw that Red Bull Baron power play graphic pop up, the gold swing from down 5,000 to up 6,000. Fnatic have come back in dramatic fashion. Oscarinin, one of the key players to do so, 11 out of his team's 13, and Mersa is looking for the quickness. He's flashed forward, but the Moonlight Vigil from Noah's done so much damage, he's shut down. Flakked finds the boomerang blades. Oscar shuts down the Sivir, pushes back another. Evie and Vetheo versus Fnatic, but there's simply not enough left in the tank. 1 member remains versus 3. That Jayce and Soul is tearing Heretics apart.
Heal shields appeals are too much for Heretics, and Fnatic now will push in towards the Nexus.
That is what we're going to call this comp, the heal, shields, and peels from Fnatic. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody else, we do indeed have a game on our hands, and Fnatic even the series at 1-1.
It was a very rocky start, wasn't it? It was those team fights where Fnatic have come back, and that's where they're showing their strength so far in this season, this series. I feel like the draft was a little bit better for them as well coming into this game too. And as much as Humanoid and Razork were a little bit quiet in the early stages, the Ivern was doing work later on. The Jayce poke was good, but my MVPs were really Oscar and Noah in those fights.
Yeah, I think they got caught off guard by the Ivern. Honestly, like even looking at myself over the last couple of drafts they've been banning Ivern consistently. They put absolutely no inkling at all that they want to try and go for this Ivern. So gets picked up, brings it out beautifully and sets up really well for Humanoid on this Jayce again.
3 games ever for Razork on the Ivern. And also, I think when you think about how Razork and Fnatic have played and have approached their early games, not the type of champion to take over, not the type of champion to have that huge early game impact. And that was something that I was not expecting, but it was executed well in the late stages.
Ivern is good into Trundle, right? In an isolated jungle matchup in the sense that Trundle will have the advantage in the first level 1 to 5 where he has really good early kill pressure with the PTA. He found a dive mid, a kill bot. If Fnatic can slow it down in those stages, the Ivern will eventually take over later on, and you can see the amount of shielding and healing it can do. Even a mortal reminder coming out from Flakked couldn't cut through it.
Well, it didn't work out. What it does mean for us is we get more games today. 1-1 to hit to the Analyst test to break down Fnatic's win.
Yeah, and it was a really convincing win, and especially what we wanted to see on the Fnatic side this time. And I think we're going to take a look at the draft first, because we have a lot of things to cover for this draft. First, Jayce priority, once again. What did we think of the adaptation on Heretics side, who can finally get the Renekton that we've talked about?
Well, I think it's finally the fact that Renekton, I mean, I care less about it, I'll be honest. I think for me, it's more the fact that you put them in a situation where they didn't want to try and trade the Jayce and Maokai. By Fnatic banning the rail, you were in this situation where you could have said, all right, we'll let Maokai be open so we can trade 1-for-1 no matter what. But it felt like they weren't comfortable with the trade if Fnatic was suddenly going to first pick the Maokai. And they would rather just have the fact that Jayce was open, come in with a pick themselves. But they didn't have all the OPs they wanted this time. And I really think when they saw the Jayce, then Ahri Renekton, then probably Aphelios and the Trundle on 3, they clearly had a plan to shut down the Jayce, but it became a bit hard for them there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me, from the perspective of Team Heretics, you know, it's one of those things where if, as Fnatic, from that top 3, you know, you're able to kind of curate a lot of fights in the early game as Team Heretics, which, to be fair, did start to happen, you always feel fine. But in Fnatic's case, sure, they kind of walked in. I feel like it was kind of, as Caedrel was kind of putting towards the end, right? As the Ivern, you don't fall into too many traps in the early game, then you end up being fine. Even though they did, because there was a couple of mistakes which ended up coming through from the side of Heretics, it kind of allowed the Ivern to outscale on the jungle matchup.
I feel like, yeah, it came down to playing slow and control, and finally finding these opportunities with the Ivern pick. We've been talking about this champion a lot. Usually in the right hands, he's going to be really successful. I feel like today it was.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think this was a bit of a draft gap as well for Fnatic coming into it, just with the picks that they have. You have Ivern into double melee topside. You barely have any engage on Team Heretics. I think Heretics really pinched themselves in with the first 3 picks because you knew you had to go for an engage. If you go with any normal engage champion, there'll be a Braum on the other side. If you go with the Rakan, Nautilus will come in. It became difficult for you to find a good draft win condition and way easier for Fnatic to play out what they wanted.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I think just going towards then the Ivern afterwards, it breaks apart everything. It's too short range of a composition as Team Heretics to really walk into, because then you've got Bruiser against Bruiser, but one Bruiser side has basically a million shielding and healing coming out of the Ivern.
We're going to break down a bit more this Ivern pick and how impactful it was. But before that, Ender, run us through the first 3 kills in the first 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, well, thanks, Laura. I think you guys broke it down pretty well there, where Heretics didn't have a lot they could do to sort of get an advantage or to really maintain it. Mostly we were looking around that mid lane, and this is where, again, just like in Game 1, Vetheo and Jankos do a very good job. So both junglers go for a full clear, and then while Razork is on the bot side looking for maybe a gank opportunity bot lane or some vision in that jungle, Jankos, we can roll a clip, goes straight between the turrets in mid lane after taking down the Scuttle Crab. Now, there's not a lot that Humanoid can do. Maybe you could play a little bit more south side and try not to kite into the left there, but this was very nicely done. Even Vetheo holding a lot of his spells, ends up missing the charm at the end, but the burst damage is there. So it's a good start from them. Then both of them reset at the same time. Doesn't matter that the TP comes back to lane, that they're a little behind on tempo, with Razork getting that base off first since he didn't go for the gank. They're ready to pounce when Fnatic walk in to the jungle. Mersa was lying in wait. Jankos is here, and Vetheo, even though he was the second one to TP back into lane, still is able to get the first roam. Humanoid doesn't move, and they find those kills. Regardless of how the rest of the game played out, right? Like, this is what we're going to continue to see. This is the play style of Vetheo and Jankos, and it's a miracle, honestly. The Vetheo manages not to even die here, even holds on to the flash, completely confident, sort of seeing how much damage the enemy team was going to be able to do to him in that 2-on-1. Now, it started off good, and Jankos went on to get 1 million kills, and gold stayed close. But there was a big problem. The problem is, Daisy's the GOAT.
Daisy was definitely the GOAT here. And unlike game 1, where you had the Yone agency of playing side lane and also joining team fights, I feel like Heretics, with the composition they had, it was going to run out of time anyway. And while you have Heretics just stacking kills, Fnatic is actually stacking plays on the map, the dragons, heralds, and everything, and it played out in the end and just came together with Daisy, as Andrew pointed out here.
Yeah, I think the big problem that happened for Team Heretics in this game was, even though they got the early leads that they got, they didn't necessarily always put themselves in a favorable position. And you can see it here with Daisy just in general into these melee comps. She's literally just wreaking havoc with them. There's so many shields coming in, so many knockups, so much CC for Ivern as well, but also just the fact that before coming into this, Team Heretics had spent a lot of time trying to go over on the heralds, even abandoning the first herald to try and fight the first Drake that did not work out and working out for them. And here again, Daisy's just a face checker, man. Like, she's just going in there.
Yeah, she kind of fulfills. She kind of feels like everything that you need in this specific niche, right? Especially if, in the case of Oscarinin not being there to face check, right? And even then, you don't want him face checking. You want his health bar intact. So I feel like since the rework was all, Daisy's just like prime Mike Tyson, will just box up any champion pretty much 1v1. And again, I feel like the sort of moving into 4-5 from both sides. I think the fact that, like you mentioned, if you go Nautilus as Heretics, then you just get Braum plus Ivern, and in this case, it's just extra lockdown that works out with the Ivern. You saw it in these clips, Daisy being able to being sent in rather as a sentry to then basically set up for any additional team fight or engage options. It just made it too oppressive, I feel like, for Heretics to answer.
And it's a really specific gameplay, honestly, playing Ivern, and really counter-intuitive. I didn't think Razork would maneuver the champion that well, but it worked out in the end. Leading us to game 3 with Heretics playing on blue side. Expected, of course, but it's going to change in the priority picks that they're going to want in terms of OP. They want to secure first.
100%. And I think this is where it's going to be a bit more interesting. I think Kai'Sa will still continue to be banned out on this side of Fnatic, but all of a sudden the Maokai, the Rel, these are 3 you probably have to give up. Then Saya suddenly opens, something they've seemed to be worried about a lot. And even Jayce, because they may not be able to secure this for themselves.
Exactly. That was the pick I was going to highlight that you're missing out. I was going to say, what's going to happen with the Jayce now? Because it's been 2 games of priority for Humanoid now. How do things, swap out now? Because I feel like it's been a very strong pick for Fnatic recently. And does Vetheo feel like he wants to pick it up on his side? Is it something that he really, wants to play, or is it just going to be now a ban on the opposite end?
Is it going to be still about mid lane and these early plays from Heretics and how they can translate it into comfortable mid game? Because for me, they didn't have the comp to do what we've been used to seeing from them previously.
I think given how things turned out in the early game, yes, of this game too. I feel like the mid 2v2 is going to be super important. I'm just not sure where, Heretics land, because Vetheo is not going to get Kai'Sa. Jayce is probably going to be banned. Do we just land on an enabler, or do we want a true born carry for him that is going to be dealing out the damage, something like his Akali or something really crazy?
I just want to put it there. LeBlanc is a champion that they both play and love.
Sure.
So,
but I think it's also so much more important they're comfortable with engage, because if Mersa you only engage, it makes it difficult. And secondly, I think they definitely need better Drake setup. They put all the emphasis on Rift Heralds this games when you didn't really have the winning matchups to accelerate the game. If you had it around the team fights in the beginning where you just keep Jankos where he can get the Drakes, then the Rift Heralds when you can play through his prowess, definitely something to look forward to.
So it's going to come to map movements for Heretics and how well they can play for this setup, but it is tied up here in this do or die series between Fnatic and Team Heretics. Let's find out which team moves to match point right after the break.
But the root corner will just about help out. Mersa's buying time. Oscar's being burnt down. He's not taken out yet. There's just not enough damage, and no matter how tasty the Daisy is, they can't find the kills.
I can hook in if you want.
I can put Daisy to be annoying.
Look on Ahri, okay?
Oh, good. Make a good. Bump them. Nice. I see you.
Yeah, I'm looking on Drake.
Okay. Good. Very good.
Kill for Rakan. Back now. See them, okay.
I see you now.
Yes. Kill for Rakan and get
You don't die.
Look. Nice.